This week, you guys are going to be reading Chapter 3 in Spielvogel, The Civilization of the Greeks. And I think this is one of the more interesting chapters, but it's also one that students tend to find fairly confusing. The reason it's confusing is because it covers a really long time span during which lots of changes were taking place in Greek history. So the textbook chapter actually begins back in the Bronze Age, back around 2000 BC, and tells the story of the two Bronze Age Greek societies, Mycenaean and Minoan Greece. Now, when the Bronze Age collapses, something we talked about last week, what's going to happen in Greece is that it enters into a period called the Dark Ages. And they're not called the Dark Ages because all kinds of really awful things happened during them. They're called the Dark Ages because this was a period when Greek writing was lost, and as a result, we don't have any historical records to really study this time. However, around the year 800 to 750 BC, writing reemerges in ancient Greece, and suddenly we have a whole bunch of sources describing a wide variety of different Greek cities. It turns out that there are going to be over 300 independent Greek city-states, and they're all going to pretty much not get along with each other. And so we're going to find that ancient Greece is a rather contentious and violent and warfare-filled period in ancient history. The textbook does a good job focusing on two particular Greek cities, specifically Athens and Sparta. Now, the one thing I really need you to keep in mind when you're reading about ancient Athens is that the textbook describes two different periods in Athenian history. From pages 73 to page 75, the textbook talks about what you might call really ancient Athens, when Athens was ruled by aristocrats and kings, and eventually a tyrant took over. And this is sort of the less important part of Athenian history. When you're talking about classical Greece, which is what we're really studying this week, the Athens you want to look at is the Athens of democracy. And you can see that starting on page 79 and forward. Under this new Greek political system in Athens, described really well on page 80 of the textbook, Athens becomes the first radical democracy in world history. And so when you're comparing, whether it's on the discussion boards or in a project, if you're comparing the political systems of Greece, make sure that you recognize that the Athenian political system is democracy, not that ancient aristocracy the textbook mentions first.